Nesting is now out in Path of Titans, and here is a full guide about it. But wait, I bet you're going, hang on, didn't you already do a full guide? Yes, I did. However, some information was wrong. I'm kind of going over it again, and well, this is the complete updated guide to nesting. So let's get right into it. Nesting unlocks at subadult. So as soon as you hit subadult, you unlock the nesting ability. It'll pop up when you press tab on PC. I think it's select on consoles, and it'll show up in the side menu where you normally have for admins. You'll have admin panel as well, but character select, social, and all that. You'll also have build a nest or make a nest. And when you get that, the nest outline will pop up. It'll either be green or it'll be red. Red means you can't place it there. Green means you can. And then you can place it. Although, there are some other things that you need to know about building a nest. Firstly, it will tell you on the top left what your items are that you need for the nest. And it will also tell you if it's abundant, scarce, or, in the middle ground. Additionally, there are some out-of-bounds places. Of course, for aquatics, you can only build a nest on the surface, and for flyers, it's better to build it in a tree. Not all trees will be able to work. It's very hitbox orientated, and obviously for land-based dinosaurs, it depends on the collision. Now, since the last test of nesting, you can now build a nest in caves. So, where you build a nest is important. You want to place it in an area where you get the supplies you need, but also, you want to make sure your nest isn't found by carnivores. If you don't like the location of a nest, you can simply abandon it. Now, I believe there is a 30-second timer to abandon your nest. This destroys it. It doesn't get rid of any of the hatched babies, and it doesn't destroy your family tree. It just allows you to relocate the nest. However, all the buffs that you get for nesting that I talk about in the end of the video, you'll not be getting either. Each creature has a different nest type, and this is something that there is quite a bit for. Now, it's good time to mention that there are new resources as well, because each creature requires different types of resources for their nest. And the other thing is, every creature has a different egg type, or most of them. Allosaurus has a nest type that looks like one of those UFOs, like the Tic Tac shape, and Deinonychus has a very orange egg, and Phal has a blue egg. It's very crazy, but these are also huge. That being said, yes, each dinosaur requires different things. Now here's a list of all the dinosaurs and what nest requirements items they need. Now there's something else that's more important, and that's the resources that are new and for nesting. These are reeds, which can be found near rivers or pond near nest sites. Mud, where there's new mud deposits now. Some of them obviously were attached to logs, but there's now just big blobs of it as well. Kelp, which is an underwater nesting item, which also ties into some new underwater nesting items like log deposits and rock deposits underwater. And of course there's the other stuff as well, like bones and rocks as well. Now, a user in the Discord of Path of Titans, which is called Kateness, did create a document which outlined every single dinosaur's nesting requirements and all the points of interest and what they needed, or what's in those points of interest. I recommend you check it out. The full thing will be in the description, so go ahead and check it out. It's the most handy guide ever. However, I will say, these are some of the points of interest and what they have. So Big Quill Lake has rocks, reeds, and branches. Those are the most abundant. Broken Tooth Canyon has reeds, branches, roots, rocks, which are most abundant. Darkwoods has reeds, branches, roots, rocks, and so on and so forth. Now, this also outlines stuff that are scarce but still in the biome. For example, in Big Quill Lake, there's bones and mud, which is scarce but still in the biome. But it also outlines stuff that is, in the middle category as well, like bones in Broken Tooth Canyon. They're not scarce, but they're not abundant. It depends where you build your nest, pretty much. Now, building a nest is very simple. Simply collect the resources you need, and it will tell you your completion rate each time you drop an item off. Each nest needs 25 items, and sometimes this is split, 3 or 2, depending on how many different items you need for that nest. So sometimes, it's split by 3 or split by 2, and it depends. The progress bar of each item will show when you interact with the nest by pressing F on PC. Each time an item is applied, the nest does an effect and grows in size until its completion. Now, once you've completed a nest, it's important to maintain the food and the water. because this is very, very important to feed your hatchlings, but it also helps when you are making eggs, because the eggs kind of spawn in quicker when you have a fully fed nest. You can only do this when you have more than half your food and water. And when you interact with the nest, there's two little buttons, one that says donate water, one that says donate food. And obviously, you click on them and it will fill up depending on, how much you have there. It's a certain chunk at a time, and when you hit the max, it won't let you add any more. Equally, when you're at half hunger, it won't let you add any more either. You can also donate meat chunks to your nest as well. When babies nest in, they can eat from it, and that's probably the best thing they have at survival because, well, hatchlings, they die of hunger very, very quickly. So it's time to nest in a player. Your nest is complete, and your nest is maintained with food and water as well. But where are the eggs? Well, when you build a nest, your eggs will slowly tick up over time. I believe this is the gestation period. However, this can be sped up by having a fully fed food and water in your nest. That was worded really badly, but you get the point there. So to nest in a player, once that egg is full, you'll then get the option to do a baby invite or adopt. We'll talk about adopt in a moment. If you do a baby invite, what happens is you open up a menu and it gives the whole player list. You can search the player name you want, or just scroll and find a player and then just click and pray that they're going to get in. Now, you can't nest in AI. I know that's a feature the devs want, but that's not in at the moment. Now, on the player's receiving end, players can get an invite in the character select menu or get one in game. And then they accept it, they go to the character select menu, and there's a little egg icon which they can then select. Another thing you can do on a nest is to sleep and change your abilities. Of course, you can sleep on a nest, but changing your abilities is what I meant to say. You can only do this while sleeping on or near a nest that is above 75% in its completion. This requires you to be sleeping on that nest, as I have mentioned. And for aquatics, because they can't sleep on top of the nest because their nest is above water, you sleep near it in the vicinity and then boom. Preferably just sleep under it, then you know for sure that you're in the vicinity. It's very important to note that nests can also be destroyed, and that's not just by carnivores. Anything can destroy your nest. I'm pretty sure even babies can destroy your nest. This can simply be done by a normal attack, like a bite attack. So of course, now that we've talked about that, let's nest in a player. The player that gets nested in will get a prompt about a invite to a group, or a similar invite to a group. You either get one whether it's to be adopted or be nested in as that dinosaur. Then when you accept it, you go to the character select menu, and then it'll give you the option for that dinosaur as well. You can change the species. However, there is a slight caveat there. So if you already have that dinosaur of a specific type and you get a nest invite, this is when there is a slight problem, because you are then notified to delete or reset that dinosaur. Ideally, you keep your skins, and I think you keep your marks as well. Although I'm not 100% sure that you keep your marks, I just know you do keep your skins because it's character save data. That being said, you'll get a prompt. It'll tell you to either keep it or delete it. You'll have a 30-second timer. Press delete, type in the name, and then you go to build that character again. The important thing is, you will be locked in that species when you are nested in. So if you already had an Allosaurus or whatever it is you get nested in as a specific species, and you reset it, you can't change the species until obviously you change it in game and you lose a growth stage. So if you want to change the species and have a fresh start, I recommend deleting that dinosaur fully instead of resetting it. Hatchling gameplay is pretty simple. You hatch in and you get a quest. This is the hatchling quest, and it's very similar to the tutorial cave. It gives you quests to move around, turn around, jump, talk in global chat, do a vocal call, equip an ability, do an attack, stuff like that. Now, this can't be disabled by server owners. However, the main aim of these quests is to get you to juvenile. It's like the tutorial cave. It's literally a free boost all the way to juvenile. Some servers have disabled the reward from it because the reward is bugged with the multiplier, because if you have boosted growth or passive growth, it gets you all the way to adult in about 15 minutes. So do bear that in mind. If you're an official, you'll probably get the boost all the way to juvie. If you're on a community server that has the rewards disabled, you just get no quest rewards from completing those quests. Another thing is, there is immunity as well. Now, until you get to a certain growth stage, some find that it is all the way to juvenile, you are immune to attacks from certain things. For example, sometimes critters or even other dinosaurs or even your sibling. Now, I believe this is either until a certain hatchling growth stage, which would be juvenile, or until you've completed all your hatchling quests. Now, once you make a nest and you hatch in a player, you can then go to the family section on the social menu, which will show you your dinosaur's family tree. This will show you all of your offspring and show their growth status and species. You will also see any adopted dinosaurs in the family tree as well. And here's some additional things you could do with your family tree. You can disown any of your children, and your children can disown you as well. Your children can go and get the milk themselves and never come back or be seen again. However, they won't get any of the buffs from nesting. When your babies have a baby, it shows in the family tree as well. Here's a quick example of when I got hatched in as an iguanodon, and then I had a baby as my iguanodon. In addition to this, you can adopt a dinosaur of the same diet as you, as long as you have an egg slot free and their growth is lower than adolescent. Simple as this. You just need a nest with a free egg slot. Then you select adopt instead of baby invite. That sends an invite to the user to be adopted. Then they'll get adopted. Now they can technically sleep and then teleport themselves over to the nest once they're adopted, so do bear that in mind. Now you can have a carnivore adopt a flyer or an aquatic or vice versa because they are the same diet. Herbivores can't adopt flies or aquatics because there's no herbivorous flies or aquatics at the moment. However, this does mean they can also teleport to your nest, which does create some pretty funny scenarios. Babies can respawn at a nest until a certain growth stage once they die. But certain conditions must be met. 1, there has to be a free egg slot in the nest, and 2, they have to be within a certain growth stage. I believe it's adolescent, and that's the max growth stage there. The baby must sleep, then a pop-up appears similar to that of the Waystone prompt, allowing you to teleport to your nest. You click accept, you have the little Waystone thing happen, then you teleport all the way to the nest as well. Adopted babies and normal babies can do this, so bear that in mind. It's a very quick way to get to a nest. There are also home cave items that you can place around your nest to help hide them and make them fit into the environment and make your house a home. These include new items like roots and big grass fixtures that let your nest blend in and make it more hidden. These are great if you are in a forested area because they make your nest so much harder to spot. However, in an open area, it definitely stands out like a sore thumb. Doesn't really make your nest that hidden, and then of course, people are going to raid it anyways, so make sure it's in an area that blends it nicely instead of in the middle of Grand Plains or Savannah grassland. You also have new items as well, additionally to the other new items like broken eggshells. Now I'm unsure how you get them. It's either from nesting in Dinosaur or building the nest, or even being nested in yourself. I feel like if you get nested in yourself, you're more likely to get that item, so I think that's the reward there. And finally, you can place your trophies around your nest too, really give it that homely vibe. And finally, let's talk about the nesting buffs, because there are 3 buffs that you can get. Now in my last guide for the test, I got these wrong, and these are now the correct ones. Firstly, you've got comfortable nest. This is shown by a golden nest icon, or an egg icon. This buff gives you 25% health recovery boost, which is quite the buff, honestly. It's really good. This doesn't apply when combat timer is active. You also get the nest combat buff, which is shown by an egg with some like claw marks by it. This means you have boosted combat output when you are around your hatchlings and your nest to help you protect your babies and your home site. And the final one is family group. This is a buff that grants all your members in your family a growth boost if they are near a family member. Now it doesn't specify if it has to be a parent, just a family member, but I've always recommend you being near your parent anyways. And there we have it. That is the nesting guide. If you have any questions, put it in the comments. Hopefully either I or someone else will be able to help you. That should answer everything though, and my older guide is now out of date. It was out of date when nesting released anyways because there was some changes, but there you have it. That is the nesting guide, the full thing. What's your thoughts on nesting, by the way? Let me know in the comments. Do you like it or do you hate it? I'd love to know.